So you saw a secret meeting between Saddam Hussein, dictator of Iraq, and Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin.
Yes.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Israeli Prime Minister.
You think you're going to fly Saddam back and they're going to kill you as soon as you land?
Yes. If I know that one, he's going to take my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Black Side Show. Today's episode is extremely unusual. Today we talk to Mohammed Sulaiman, a previous VIP squadron pilot for Saddam Hussein. Today, Mohammed actually declassified a very extremely important moment of his life. The day that he saw an unusual meeting, and it's a very secretive meeting between Saddam Hussein and the previous Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin. This meeting that was secretly held inside of an Iraqi airport in Iraq was a secret meeting that Mohammed thought once this would be the last moment of his life. Mohammed back then thought he saw something that will end his life immediately. He thought he saw something that he was not supposed to see. So today, the previous VIP pilot of Saddam Hussein goes in depth about the crazy story of what he saw back when he was flying Saddam Hussein. The American public and the Iraqi public would just have a shocking moment with how did Saddam meet with basically a Jewish prime minister of Israel, which was absolutely next to impossible for you to ever think that Saddam Hussein would meet with the prime minister of Israel. That was the last thing you could think of.
That's
because
unbelievable,
Israel,
like what happened, like exactly.
In 1983, Israel actually has bombed the Iraqi nuclear reactors.
Yes.
Really?
So basically, we were at war with Israel, and there was no way for Saddam Hussein to meet with somebody of that caliber because Saddam has always been on the Palestinian side against Israel. Saddam had very clear vision about how he feels about Israel. So to this day, nobody would believe that Saddam would ever meet with a Jewish prime minister. So, Mohammed, I want to get deep into that story.
Yeah.
So you were shocked that he met with the Syrian president. This was all new for you. Tell me about when you took that trip for Saddam to meet with the Israeli prime minister. How did that go?
Yeah. Actually, after a couple months from this meeting,
Yeah.
I was sitting in my squadron, sitting, chilling around 12 o'clock. So my friend, one of my friend of mine, he came to me. He said, "Mohammed, can you fly? Take my mission, fly this mission." I told him, "Why? Tell me, it's my day off. I want to go to." It was on Thursday. This guy, he lived in Fallujah, so about 80 kilometers west of Iraq, Baghdad. So he takes 2 days off, like Thursday and Friday, and he came on Saturday. That's weekly. So around 12 o'clock, that's mission. So he told me, "Can you take it?" I told him, "Okay." He told me, "Thank you so much." Okay. But I didn't know. Just like special mission. Nobody knows.
You were not told.
One of his family members, we didn't know, cousin, whatever, I don't know. So anyway, I went to the aircraft. I'm waiting for him, for this VIP. I don't know who's coming. Then suddenly came two Mercedes, black Mercedes, came to the aircraft. But it was black, all windows black, everything black. I didn't know who's but I know from VIP if it's something like. So I see he step out from the car.
Saddam Hussein,
and those his member of his security members also okay with him. So he came to the aircraft. He get into the aircraft only by himself. He said, "Guys, do you know where we're going?" I told him, no, sir. He said hi at first, "Hi, how are you guys?" I'm good. Usually he say, "Hi, how are you? How's your family?" That's
because he knows you well at this point.
That's
right?
standard. Yeah, that's standard. Yeah.
But this time he didn't. This time Saddam did not say much to you. Didn't ask you about your family.
No. Just
Wanna walk in.
hi. How are you guys? Do you know where we going? I told him no. He said to Habbaniya. I told him, sir, Habbaniya. They had two airports at the Habbaniya airport, one down and one up on the hill. He told me no, the hill. They called Hadaba Habbaniya. So okay, sir, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on.
So where is Habbani?
Habbaniya basically is an air base in Anbar province in Fallujah, basically.
Okay.
That was actually one of the main air
Between
bases down there.
Fallujah and Anbar, between Fallujah and
Anbar.
Ramadi.
Yeah.
So you're not flying out of the country. You're staying in the
You're
country.
still in the country.
Yes, still in the country, yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, I start the engines, normal taxi, request takeoff, set heading. It's not even like 100 kilometers from, less than 100 kilometers from my base, from within the airbase or from Baghdad. So, anyway, usually establish contact before like 10 minutes or like about, let's we say, 25, 30 miles away. So I established contact with the Habbaniya airbase, with the controller, with the tower. So I told him, tower, this is so and so. He said, yes, continue clear to land. Usually he didn't give me clear to land unless I'm like approaching final.
Yeah.
It's only like already about 7 minutes out. I'm like, he told me clear to land. But I can't hear any like my like radios. Nobody flying at that time. I didn't hear any communications.
So it's
Usually,
completely quiet, and you got permission in advance as usual. So you're like, there's nobody else flying in right now.
No, completely shut down. All the Iraqi airspace shut down completely. So okay, anyway, I came on final, touchdown, land there. Saddam came to the cockpit. He tell me, park next to King Hussein. He parked there. Was King Hussein aircraft already land there.
In Habbaniya. So basically, this was inside of Iraq.
Yes, inside Iraq.
Wow.
Yeah. So he told me, go to King Hussein Park there. Aircraft.
So this is the Prime Minister of Jordan?
Yeah, no, that's the King of Jordan.
King of Jordan.
King of Jordan.
So he's already in Iraq.
He's already in Iraq. The King of Jordan have already landed.
Yeah.
Already landed before Saddam.
Landed with Saddam from Baghdad all the way down to Habbaniya Air Base.
So you land here, the only aircraft flying, you land and you pull in right next to King Jordan's aircraft.
Yes, exactly. So This is King Jordan aircraft. I park here. So Saddam, he get out from the aircraft from the left, and both of them from the left, actually. After he stepped outside the aircraft, he start walking. So two people, they came from here. I didn't see them, but until they passed the nose of the aircraft. So I realized this is King Hussein and the Prime Minister is Rabin, Mr. Rabin.
Of Israel.
Israeli Prime Minister.
So you're saying basically that there was a Prime Minister of Israel inside of an Iraqi airport, airbase.
With King Hussein.
Holy crap.
So these are mortal enemies.
These are Saddam and the Prime Minister of Israel are absolutely mortal enemies.
Wow. And this, I'm surprised to hear that the Israeli Prime Minister is in Iraq.
Yeah, that's like insane.
That would be very dangerous for him to come into the country, right?
Yeah, especially in a country
because he could be taken prisoner or something like that. Yeah.
But he came with King Hussein. Sure, there is like a communication between them like already before that.
So did he fly in with the King of Jordan, or did he fly on his own?
Yes. No, yeah. Fly the same aircraft for King Hussein.
Same aircraft.
Both of them, same aircraft. Yeah, wow. But as I told you, like there is like many. Sure, there is some like cooperation or communication between that before that meeting.
I mean, like, how did you feel? I have to ask you this. Yeah. How did you feel seeing the Prime Minister of Israel for the first time in your life inside of an Iraqi airspace? Or inside of an Iraqi.
When I saw them, like I get shocked. Like for 10 minutes, like I didn't say nothing. Just like, I don't know, no signal, nothing, completely.
Wow.
Like snow screen, like snow screen in my eyes and nothing.
Now,
Then
after you saw that, were you afraid of maybe something happening to you because you saw something you shouldn't see?
that's a problem actually. So I looked to my friend. His name,
Yeah.
he passed away. So I tell him, did you see what I saw? He tell me yes. I tell him who? He tell him Prime Minister. So I thought, I thought just like I'm dreaming.
Wow.
So Israeli.
So you
Prime
basically
Minister.
turned around and looked at your co-pilot and said, "Did you just see what I saw?"
Yes. So anyway, so they shaking hand, both of them, like King Hussein and Mr. Rabin and Saddam, all of them, and they went to the King Hussein aircraft. They get inside the aircraft. They sitting there around 3 hours, more than 3 hours. So I still like I stay in my aircraft, inside the aircraft. After that meeting, I don't know what's going on there exactly. We didn't hear them.
Mhm.
So they start walking in the front of both aircrafts, like back and forth, like couple times back and forth. Then they stop in the middle. They shaking hands, like they hugging each other.
So basically, I want to go to details. You saw Saddam Hussein shaking hands with the Prime Minister of Israel right in front of the cockpit.
And those do they tapping on shoulders and both of them.
Like a man hug, like a shaking
Yes,
you.
exactly.
One arm hug.
I mean, that gotta be
Wow.
that gotta be insane. To think that, this is unusual. To think that there was an Israeli Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin, was inside of an Iraqi air base meeting with Saddam Hussein. I mean, it's kind of something that you don't expect. This
Yeah.
is something definitely
something
that
unusual.
never knew of.
Right.
So basically, I want to ask you this, Mohammed. What was your feelings when you saw something? Did you feel inside of you that you actually saw something that you shouldn't see? Did you think that you saw something that will cost you your life?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's all what happened to me, why I came to this mission.
What was
So
going
so
on
this
inside
one-
of you?
Yeah, it's upside down. Everything like my brain start it's computer up and down. Like many stories, I start I'm guessing this story if something happened or that one. So what I'm gonna do if something happened like this? What I'm gonna do if something happened?
So you
They're
basically
gonna kill me.
panicked.
So this is meeting. So it should be nobody knows. So if I know that one, he's gonna take my life.
So you think you're going to fly Saddam back and they're going to kill you as soon as you land?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
That's what I'm thinking at that time.
That's incredible.
I mean, you
So-
know that Saddam had history of assassinating and eliminating people that saw things that they shouldn't see. Through the whole history of Saddam Hussein's being in power, have eliminated thousands of people that saw things they shouldn't see.
Wow.
So maybe Muhammad was lucky that
Yeah.
Saddam was on the status or the mood that day not to get rid of him.
Yes, because I fly many time with him, and he my
Yeah.
face. He's nice with us, so we take care of him every time. We make smooth landing, that one.
Gotcha.
We came on
So
time.
do you think he liked you or maybe he just trusted you?
Trusted his skills, I would say.
Yes,
Trusted.
Yeah, trust skills. Yeah. So anyway, he came to the aircraft. He said, "Okay, let's go back to Baghdad International Airport, that's before Saddam International Airport." He said, "Dually, international." So I fly from from Habbaniya. He said, "You fly first." I thought, okay. So I called. By the way, the airbase completely shut down. No movement, even no birds there. No birds there, no cars, no
Nothing.
somebody
So you see
walking,
basically
nothing.
no movement.
Completely
So
dead.
it's like abandoned except for you two aircraft.
Yes, just
Wow.
two of us. So anyway, he came to go to Baghdad International. Okay, start the engine. He said, you take off first. I said, okay. So I request taxi, take off, get to Baghdad.
So basically,
International.
Saddam came back to the aircraft.
So
And-
I land in.
Tell me about it. When that
When-
meeting
when-
ended, Saddam went back to the aircraft. What happened there?
Yes, so nothing. He was happy at that time, smiling,
Yeah.
normal. So when I landed in Baghdad International, airport. So I parked by the side of they call it palace, beyond the palace, like reception, big reception P1. So he came to the cockpit. He put his hand on both of us. He said, like, guys, did you see something? Anything? No, sir. He said, he tapped my shoulder. He said,
so if you can repeat that one more time. So Saddam Hussein comes in after you landed in Baghdad.
After landing in Baghdad, when he opened the door before he stepped out from the airplane. So he came to the cockpit. He put his hand, both of us, like this. He said, like, did you see anything, guys? I said, no, sir. He said, good. And he tapping on my shoulder here. And he stepped outside. But this one.
So it was that moment that you realized you were not going to die that day.
Still I'm thinking I'm going to die. Still. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
So you're still basically afraid that somebody with a gun on his pressure was going to get.
But I said maybe when I said no, maybe I don't know what happened. So anyway, I'm like upside down. I'm toppling upside down like whole time. Like I went to the house. So my wife, she cooked. I don't eat something. That's what happened to you? Oh, nothing. It's okay. Anyway, so. Second day when I went to the squadron, it was like Friday, so I didn't go Friday also as well. It was Friday, so I went on Saturday, which is like beginning of week. We start our week on Saturday at that time. Yeah. So I went there. How was your mission? Oh, it's good. It was good. Okay. Who's going there? Like, it's like, okay, just, I don't know, like delegation, so things like that. So
the whole time, Mohammed, you felt that this was not over. You saw something you shouldn't see, and this was not going to end well, and you just didn't want to discuss that mission with anybody.
No. And then on Saturday, the person is supposed to be my friend, is supposed to be to fly with this mission. He came on Saturday, like start his like work like on Saturday. So he take Thursday and Friday. So he told me, Mohammed, do you know how, when I arrive my house after 8 hours. I told him, why? It's not even an hour away from Baghdad, your house, your city. Yeah. He told me, I don't know what happened. They closed all the roads between like Ramadi and Baghdad. They closed back and forth, everything they closed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't know this whole area was just shut down?
No, I didn't know that because I know from him. That's why he told me I make it home after 8 hours. Man. If I was flying with that mission, I was better than me. He said, better to me. Like, I fly in this mission. Anyway, so
okay. I know at the time you had no idea what they were discussing. Now that it's been, a couple decades, do you have any idea of what they may have been discussing at the time?
No, I didn't know anything about what happened.
No idea, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
even for that meeting between Saddam and Hafez Assad, I hear it from Monte Carlo radio station, at that time. After 6 months, they said about it. That is like a secret meeting between Saddam and Hafez Assad, with corporate with manage it from King Hussein.
So they exposed that he met with the Syrian leader, but they just never talked about him meeting with the Israeli prime minister.
No.
And you heard about this on the news 6 months after that mission?
I heard about just for Syria, actually. I heard just from Syria meeting. Saddam Hussein, top secret meeting between Saddam and Syrian president, Hafez Assad.
And while you were watching the news, while we were watching the news, did you feel like, holy crap, there was more to this than just that, right? Did you feel like you knew something more than the rest of the country?
Yeah, but I have to watching news, heard of the news. But about the meeting between Saddam and King Hussein with Yitzhak Rabin, no. This one
that was classified.
Nothing. nothing. But I heard actually.
Now, were you fearful when you heard that news broadcast 6 months later? Were you fearful that maybe
Yes.
Saddam would think that you leaked that information?
No, because they said it like I'm not like information, but when they said it, like I thought, oh, thanks God. Maybe it's not. I'm not saying that. Maybe from Jordan.
It was an
because
official
there's the
release.
Jordanian
Oh,
side,
so
there is-
this was information that Saddam authorized to be said.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. It was an
Okay.
official release
Yeah,
saying
but-
Saddam and the president of Syria has actually met in person and discussed so and so. But there will be no way them releasing information saying Saddam Hussein
Yeah,
himself met with
yeah,
the
but maybe they release information like Syrian sides or Jordanian sides. They release the information about 6 months, but I didn't see anything. I didn't like say anything at that time. So anyway,
Right.
so after that mission between Saddam leading and Yitzhak Rabin, like I was like shaking almost like a year after that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's gonna happen to me when somebody bring the doorbell, like my heart's like falling down like completely. So I don't know what's happened.
Yeah,
But
so you
thanks
just
God.
lived in complete fear for the next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
after like past year, nothing. Okay, then I feel safe.
Wow. So Mohammed, I want to get into something pretty important. Saddam fell in 2003, and
Yeah.
Iran. Since Saddam fell in 2003 and America liberated Iraq and went through everything, Iran immediately started to make an assassination list of all Iraqi pilots who have participated against them in the Iran-Iraq war. And somehow you made the assassination list that were made and sent by Iran. And I want to get to you about like the survival of your life, like how you survived such a thing. Many people here in America don't realize that it's over 168 Iraqi pilots were assassinated by Iran after 2003.
Wait, 168 pilots were
Yes,
assassinated?
sir. Yes, sir.
Iraqi pilots.
Maybe-
Iraqi pilot. It's
Wow.
scary. This is
Maybe more
maybe
than
more.
that, because that's how
So-
that's a record, but maybe more.
So at the time, I was working as an intelligence asset for the U.S. intelligence in Iraq. And we have an Iraqi general who actually worked for foreign intelligence. And this Iraqi general was actually collecting the names of every single pilot that airstruck Iran during the Iraq war, the Iraq-Iran war. I mean, to think about it, how many pilots we had, holy crap. We had a lot of pilots.
So he was cooperating with the Iranians.
He was cooperating with the Iranians.
Why would he do that? What was his motivation?
Because he was working for the Iranian intelligence. He was an agent of the Iranian intelligence.
Yeah.
So would they have something over his head or something, or
No, he was a paid agent by the Iranian
so
intelligence.
he just infiltrated the Iraqi army?
Absolutely.
Wow.
He was an Iraqi general in the Iraqi military, in the new Iraqi military.
And he was Iraqi born as well?
He was Iraqi born.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So he was a traitor.
Pure
Yeah, he was
Iraqi.
absolutely
Pure
right.
Iraqi.
Wow.
And pure evil, man. This guy, I was actually in the MOD collecting on this individual. I was in the MOD tagging every single move. The American advisor who was working right next door to this guy was actually an intelligence officer.
Wow.
And we were watching this guy. And the intelligence officer who was actually in charge watching this Iraqi general steps who worked for Iran was Colonel John Burke, which you already met.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
So
you think the lives of these 168 pilots is on this Iraqi
Absolutely,
general's
man.
hands?
how else would Iran know who the pilots are?
Wow.
How else would they know? There was no list, there was no papers, there was no files ever been found. But just goes to show you the evilness of Iran, man. This war ended in 1988. We're talking about this is 2003, entering into 2004, and Iran is getting their vengeance on every single pilot. I mean, look, at the end of the day, these pilots have followed orders.
Yeah.
It was Saddam Hussein who was giving them orders, and their country was under attack by Iran. They have to do their job. They didn't have any options. And if you refuse to get on a jet to conduct an airstrike against Iran, Mohammed would tell you, you'll die. That was simple. But the fact that Iran wanted to assassinate every single pilot, including any
yes,
single
right.
division commander. It doesn't have to be a pilot. But their focus was a lot on the pilots.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. 168 Iraqi pilots were assassinated by Iran, and there are more who probably fled the country.
So these guys are being assassinated for things that they'd done 15 to 20 years prior.
Exactly.
Now, some of these guys probably are not even in the military anymore.
Absolutely.
Right? They're probably civilians at this point?
Civilians at that point, yeah.
You think that maybe their families were taken out too? Or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was brutal, man. The assassinations were absolutely brutal. The fact that when I was working in the MOD and I was collecting on few individuals that were actually the key figures who were in the new Iraqi military, that they came back with the new Iraqi military, there were a couple of suspicious people that you just kind of felt like they were up to something, the way they were. So this individual here comes into the Iraqi military, comes back as a general, and somehow the Americans figures him out. They kind of knew this guy got something going on. Clearly, the American intelligence was already aware of all his phone calls. Who was he talking to? He was opening all kind of different communications with foreign intelligence. And meaning he wasn't only talking to the Iranians. He was also talking to Kuwaitis. He was talking to other intelligence. Anybody out there. He was basically the agent for hire.
You think he was selling the information?
Absolutely.
Wow.
He was. And he was not only selling it for money, he was actually probably exchanging it for favors. So the one interesting thing about this individual is when I was working undercover and I'm collecting on this individual and we're actually trying to build a database around him, he was ordered, the U.S. leadership have ordered to freeze him up. Basically, do not allow him to take any important positions within the Iraqi military. And here's what he did. Anybody was appointed to be the leader of the Iraqi Operations Center and the Iraqi MOD was assassinated. The first Iraqi general that got assigned to the position where he was in 2004 was named General Qasim. And General Qasim got assassinated 2 hours after he went home. The second person that came to replace the other person that got assassinated also got assassinated 2 hours after he went home.
So the fact that this third guy, who's the traitor, did not get assassinated, that's suspicious, right?
Absolutely. And they knew it was him because anybody you would appoint to take his position will get killed. It got to a point where the national Iraqi officers who were loyal to Iraq were terrified to take this position. Nobody wanted to take this position. So what they did, they knew that it was him. So slowly the U.S. intelligence started actually tapping into him. But the U.S. intelligence were actually interested to know who was he talking to? What information was he providing? And this guy was just a new evil showing up in the Iraqi military and started collecting. You don't know what his loyalties are, who he really is. And one of the things he was collecting was actually, and he had a lot of people working for him in the building. And one of the things he was collecting is every single pilot that participated in the Iraq-Iran war and have airstriked or bombed Iran during the eight-year war between Iraq and Iran.
Now, Mohammed never conducted any airstrikes on Iran during his time.
But he was in the VIB squadron.
So Mohammed, how did you think you made the list of people to be assassinated if you hadn't taken any airstrikes during your career?
Yeah. Actually, I received threatening from Al-Qaeda, and they call it Jihad wa Tawheed fi Bilad al-Rafidin. That's other organization.
So you were getting death threats from Al-Qaeda in 2003?
At the beginning, because I joined the
New
Air
Iraqi
Force
military.
again.
Oh, okay.
Again, the Air Force again.
Let's time out real quick. Let's time out because I think we missed something. So in 2003, you joined the Iraqi army.
No, in 2004.
2004.
Yeah, end of 2004, which was on December 2004. I joined the Iraqi Air Force to build up Iraqi Air Force. One friend of mine, they called me. Had you gotten out of the military and then you came back in? Yes, I get out of military in 2001.
Okay, so you're out. You're a civilian for 3 years, then you come back in.
Yes.
In 2004, you joined the Iraqi Air Force. Yeah.
Yeah. So he told me they're gonna build a new Iraqi Air Force, so on. So I told him join that one. So okay, yeah, I know you are a good pilot. You are like your family pilot or so and so. I told him okay. So I went for a medical check and I passed all this medical exam, whatever they said, like to make, like that's usually to get a pilot license, that normal. Like routine every 6 months we do it usually, even if you are a pilot. So,
Right.
yeah.
So do you feel like you're finally now fighting for the good guys?
Yeah, just I'm a pilot. It's my dream. Like it's in my blood. So I want to fly.
Because before, when you were flying for Saddam,
Yes.
did you feel like you were kind of like working for the bad guy? Or did
After
you?
that, like yes, like at in 2000, in 1999, like actually after 1991, after like Kuwait, when he get into Kuwait, like everything's situation bad in Iraq. So people, when they know, like some of my friends, they know I'm working with Saddam, they don't like me. They like, they tell me you are like, you like him and you work with him. I tell them I'm a pilot.
Yeah, so they don't trust you
it's
because
not only
you're flying.
Saddam. Yeah, I'm not like flying with Saddam, with many presidents, with many delegation ministers, a lot, like many
Right.
people I fly. So in 2001, I get like semi-retired. Like I'm sitting home, just like just taking like my salary every month. And after the 2003, so in 2004, my friend of mine called me to build up new Iraqi Air Force. So I joined again. I went to the green zone. They need some paperwork. They give me ID, so and so. They tell me, okay, make yourself ready at certain day. Like they give me a specific day to be ready here by the green zone. Bring your like luggage. We're gonna send you to Jordan for training. Okay. So I bring like some luggage with me, some stuff. So we take us with the Black Hawk from Green Zone to the Baghdad International. Yeah, Baghdad International. I land there from Baghdad International. So they take us with the C-130. We fly by C-130 we land in Jordan there. Then we land in Marka and Amman, like Marka airbase, like Amman, center of Amman, which is capital city of Jordan. Then after that, we go to, they call it Al-Azraq airbase. So we stay there for about a month and a half, as like they call it like training, like primary training. It's not secondary, primary training there. Then after that, we moved to Marka Air Base, which is in Amman, Jordan. I stayed there for 5 months for training for C-130, fly C-130.
Wow.
I finished
So basically, I want to fast forward into this, Mohammed. You went to Jordan, you trained, you went back, joined the new Iraqi military. And when did Al Qaeda started actually sending you threats?
Yes. So after like I finished that one, I went to Baghdad again, get back to Baghdad. After like 2 weeks, they said, like, be ready, guys, we're going to send you to United States. So they sent me in 2005 to, they call it Little Rock Air Base. I finished other course there for.
Oh, that's in Arizona, right?
Yeah. No, in
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas?
Little Rock, Arkansas, yeah, exactly. So then after that, after finishing the course, I came here to Michigan to visit my like family, my wife and kids, because her parents, they live in the United States a long time ago. So they moved here. They came before I came here. Like they came here in 2004. So after I finish everything, I get back to Iraq. I start in Talil Air Base, it's Nasriya Ali Base or Talil Air Base, they call it. Then, every week, every 10 days, I go for 3 days off. I go to my house. Then when I went to my house, one day I went to my house, I see there's like they slide death certificate. I mean, sorry, if at the beginning.
Like a death threat, basically.
Threat,
Letter.
yeah, threat, death threat. Yeah. So they told me leave the American, otherwise we kill you. Like that's in briefly. That's the letter.
So what did you do after you got that threat from Al Qaeda?
Yeah, I took it. Okay, I went to actually two. Second day, I get another one from Jihad Tawheed. That's another one, different organization. That one.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so I take both of them. I went to Iraqi Air Force headquarters there. Like I tell them that's what happened to me. They tell me we can't do anything. We can't do anything about to protect you, or just take care about yourself. Be safe. That's it.
I mean, at the time, basically, the country is at war.
Yeah, so they told you there's nothing they can do to help you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just be safe, take care of yourself, you're on your own.
Yes, take care of yourself. Okay.
Wow.
Then I went to the U.S. Air Force, like again. I told them that's what happened. They told me we can't do also. What did they tell you? Like your headquarters, when they tell you? Tell them that's what they told me. So they told me, okay, we can't get you anything. Hello? Are you okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We can't tell you anything. We can't do anything for you. Okay. So
wow. That's
I went home. I wanted
to ask Hamidi real
Yeah.
quick. These two organizations, these two terrorist organizations, somehow got his information and gave him death threats. How would they get the information?
That's a great question. They got people on the inside of the Iraqi MOD.
Yeah,
So this is
exactly. Yes, from MOD.
Yeah, so this is all goes back to the guy that I was following.
So not only did they know him, they knew his name, they knew where he lived.
Lives everything.
That's got to be scary.
It's scary because everything goes back to the guy that I was following around.
Yes, like when I apply, like again, join the Iraqi Air Force, they take all the information, like where you live, your phone, whatever, like everything they has. All these information they penetrate from other side, from Iran. Anybody can get those information.
Yeah.
It's not secured because the country at that time, it's like a jungle.
Yeah, a bunch of cowboys.
It is. It's like you have to think about it this way: that once you come into the new Iraqi military, there are people out there within the new Iraqi military that are already working for Al Qaeda, they're already working for Iran, they're already working for other organizations. So your information is technically always exposed.
Yeah.
Meaning, like someone like myself, how I survived the 5-year war is I never went home.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone has a family or kids, they have to go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whether they go home at the end of the day, whether they go home at the end of their 3 weeks term, whatever. That's the scary part. That's where it gets real, real scary for people. So people on the inside have worked for other intelligent entities or worked for Al Qaeda or the Islamic State at the time or worked for the Mahdi militia or Iran, has provided this information to your enemies.
Wow.
So basically, you are exposed 110%.
So fortunately for Mohammed, his family was already safely in the U.S. He didn't have to worry about his family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. After 2 days, I received another letter. So I took that letter. That's death certificate. It's not like threat, like certificate. It's death certificate.
So they were saying like you're already dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I look on the street, right, left. I run into my house. Like then I read it again. So I took it again to the headquarters. I told them, look what I get after 2 days. They told me, as we told you, we can't do anything about you. Okay. I went to the American side. I told them, you tell me. One of them, tell me, why are you staying here? Your family there. So why are you staying here? What are you waiting to call you guys? Or what? I tell them, okay. He told me, you have visa. Go. Anyway, I told him, okay, no problem. So I went to the house at night, actually. I drink every day, that's whatever, So I need no power outages at that time, no power electric. So for my fridge, doesn't work because no power there. So I try to get ice from my next door, like just across the street.
From your neighbor.
Yeah, my neighbor.
Mhm.
So I went there, knocked the door. Hi, how are you? Can I get some ice? It's like family, like his very friends.
Right.
So his wife, he stepped outside. He told me, "Oh, come on." That's like around start, like getting like around sunset. So she told me, "Come on, get inside with my husband. Let's stay, drink together. I'm gonna make a dinner for you guys. Are you preparing?"
So basically, your neighbor invited you to go drink with him. The house was empty.
Yes,
And
yes. Because I'm by myself, so it's come eat with us, come and drink with my husband. Like it's like it's family, like friend, but like family.
Right.
So I don't know. She told me, "No, please come on, get inside." Okay, she get me inside. Okay, it's not just we start like drink together. Then I hear like tons of bullets into my house.
Like
So I look
gunfire.
from the yes, gunfire, ton of bullets, like the machine guns.
so they're probably
So-
using like what, a PKC guns,
Kalashnikov, probably.
AK-47.
AK-47, yeah.
How many of them
Anyway.
were they?
So I look from the window.
Yeah.
I look at the window. I see two cars belong, they call it Ministry of Interior.
So they were like police officers, basically.
Police,
Police
yes.
officers.
And at that
Wow.
time, Ministry of Interior, actually, it's belong Iran. Iran control them. Better
Control
organization,
Iraq.
control
So,
at that
Mohammed,
time.
I'm gonna have to stop you here a little bit. So basically, to explain this, that the Ministry of Interior in Iraq has been controlled by the Iranian influence.
Yes.
The Minister of Interior himself is an Iranian fighter who was living in Iran his whole entire life.
Yeah.
Came back to Iraq. He is of Iraqi descent, but he's loyal to Iran. So basically, the Iranian intelligence is the way they took care of business in Baghdad is by implementing their assassins within the Iraqi Ministry of Interior. So the assassins could be coming at you not just as an Iranian assassins, they could come at you as an Iraqi police officers.
Wow.
They could come at you as an Iraqi commandos. They can
Yeah.
come at you as whatever they can dress.
So you can't trust any of these police officers because the whole organization is corrupt at this point.
The whole organization is corrupted. So when Mohammed-
even at that time, if you like get approaching checkpoint, you can't give him any idea. We didn't
Yeah.
know those people like with work with who, with Iran side, with
So
Iraqi,
you never
with
know.
militia. You never know. So
Wow.
anyway, so I look, it's two cars. So at that time, it's better organization. Better organization at that time, they kill all the pilots. See, all the pilots. So now in this point,
Mhm.
so after they, like tons of bullets, like gunfire on my house, so they step outside and they ran. So at that time, I didn't know till up to date. I didn't know those
Yeah.
people different than those like threading letters from Al Qaeda, and those people they looking for pilots, especially pilot Sunni, like working with Saddam or the bombing Iran, whatever during Iraqi-Iran war. So
Yeah, so
I
you don't know. You don't
who
know if
is-
they were.
yeah,
who
those
were.
from like Al Qaeda, like those. But Al Qaeda, they send me a death certificate. Right, they send me death certificate, but those different.
So basically,
I-
your life was saved because you ran out of ice.
Yes, ice and liquor. So up to date, I drink every day liquor.
I gotta say, so I wanna like stop you there a little bit. And what was your feeling seeing like assassins shooting at your house dressed as an Iraqi police officers? At that point, did you feel like your life it was done
at this
in Iraq?
point? At this point, I remember like the American person like tell me, "What are you doing here? Why are you staying here? Like, you're waiting until they kill you? Until this is not that's it done." I try to be like to serve my country. Like I'm a pilot. I want to
Mhm.
fly here in my country. Like my country need me, but those people.
You basically believed in the new you basically believed in the process of a new Iraq.
Yes, exactly. That's what I believe. Yeah.
So when did you actually leave Iraq?
I left Iraq immediately, second day. So that was
Right,
in
the day after they shot up
2006.
your house.
Yes.
Okay.
That's in 2006 on April.
So isn't that about the same time?
Before my
No,
visa get ended.
about a year after, 2 years after I left Iraq. So to go back
at that time, I have still my visa valid at that time because they give me a visa for 1 year. So valid for, I think, not even month, less than month. So I make it here.
Yeah.
Since that time,
So you
I stuck
didn't.
here.
So you didn't have official orders or release papers from the Iraqi army. How did you? How were you not in trouble for leaving? Because wouldn't that be considered going AWOL?
Well, at that time, like everything is not like organized. It's not like under rules. So anyone can leave. Anyone can leave. Oh, I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I can leave.
So you can just come and go.
Yeah, no rules. So
you never were in trouble for leaving.
no.
Okay.
Even they didn't give me salary just 2 times during my service, like 2 times. They don't have money. Oh, next month, nothing.
Oh, so you weren't even getting paid the whole time?
Yeah, whole time from 2004, like which is like December 2004 until I left. I just received 2 times salary. That's it.
Wow.
So Micah, to explain that how this assassins were doing their job, and they have made a list, and this list was provided to them by an agent within the Iraqi Ministry of Defense. And at the time, we couldn't understand that every day that I was working undercover in the Iraqi MOD, pilots would leave. The MOD would not come back. Perhaps it got weird to a point that I see many Iraqi officers die every single day. But the weird thing about it that I was seeing more pilots die every single day.
Yeah.
And more pilots, the more pilots leave the wire, they don't come back. And clearly we knew at that time, the U.S. intelligence were aware that there's some kind of a focus on Air Force pilots.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out what the common thing was with the killing. We have people getting assassinated by different terrorist organizations, but why pilots in particular are leaving the wire and not coming back?
Right.
Meaning that you have 4 pilots leave the wire from the Iraqi MOD, barely hired, just came back to the new Iraqi military, and all of a sudden you hear that 3 of them were assassinated. And obviously the 4th one is going to lose interest. It's just not going to come back. It's going to get scared. So at the time that we were trying to figure out who is really providing this information. We were navigating. At that point that we don't know this Iraqi general was providing all this information. We're basically navigating who is in the inside. That's where I was working, right in there. Trying to figure out the ocean under the iceberg.
Yeah.
Who's really providing this intelligence? Who's really doing what they're not supposed to do? So we went into depth into searching. So at the time the orders were actually figure out who these pilots are, what they have done in the past. So we figured out that the common thing was some of these pilots, majority of them, had conducted airstrike in Iran. And at the time, I was doing favors for returns at the time as an intelligence asset. My biggest thing that I have talked about in the past was actually U.S. medication or giving you treatment at a U.S. hospital. And the reason why, when people get injured in Iraq, if they go to an Iraqi hospital, most likely they can give you a shot and kill you right in there if they knew you're part of the military.
Right.
Or terrorists could still have access to you. It means that if they try to assassinate you and somehow you didn't die, they can still come to the hospital and finish you off.
Yeah, so the hospital's not secure or safe.
Not secure at all. So the biggest thing that I was offering as an intelligence asset at the time was actually treatment at a U.S. combat hospital.
So you help me, I get you an American hospital.
I get you in an American hospital. And that was my basically my currency at the time in exchange for street level intelligence. And at the time that I was not focusing on that topic because I had bigger fish to fry. I had bigger people that I was looking at, bigger people to collect on. So it was not really much, there was not much information to know why and where these assassins are coming from. We had absolutely no idea where these Iranian assassins coming from, who is helping them, where are they located in Baghdad? We don't know.
Wow.
And one day we have an Iraqi pilot in the Iraqi MOD who has a brother who's also another Iraqi officer who was not a pilot. And I'm sitting in my office and the Iraqi pilot, the brother of the Iraqi pilot, is knocking on my door. So I opened the door and he said, my brother was detained by Iraqi commandos, which basically Iraqi police force. This is like the raid force for the Iraqi police.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, what did your brother do? And he said, that's the thing. We went to every Iraqi police station and we can't find my brother. So we don't know who these commandos are. So when he said that, they immediately knew that the people that actually kidnapped his brother were the Ministry of Interior. However, it was not a regular Ministry of Interior people. These happened to be some secretive force of their Ministry of Interior. So they went to the Iraqi Minister of Defense and they pressured him to make a phone call to the Iraqi Minister of Interior, who was known at the time as the drill man. He was an Iranian guy who fought with Iran. He's an Iranian agent. Everybody knew this guy was a member of the Badr Corps, which is Iran's most loyalist. And they immediately assigned this guy as the Minister of Interior. So
now, are you talking about the same drill man?
Yeah.
That was in a couple different movies.
Yeah.
He's famous, right? Like for torturing people with an electric drill?
Extremely famous. So he was the only guy known in Iraq as the drill man. This guy wasn't really just a random terrorist. This guy was a very big time terrorist and a very accomplished person. He was the Minister of Interior. He was in charge of every single commando and Iraqi police officer in the country.
So this was a very wealthy man too, right?
Very extremely wealthy right now.
So he's just pure evil because he doesn't need to be there. He's
So he comes in and this Iraqi officers are freaking out that his brother has been taken by an unknown force. So they forced the Iraqi Minister of Defense to actually pick up the phone and call the Iraqi Minister of Interior, who's an Iranian agent. Call him and say, I need this guy out. So the Minister of Interior, which is the Iranian agent, hangs the phone and says, I'll find out if we have him. We don't know if we have him. Goes back and calls the Iraqi Minister of Defense and says, I don't think your brother, the guy you're looking for, is alive. Because he's been taken by a force that are higher than me. I mean, look, when an Iranian agent tells you this Iraqi pilot has been taken by a force that are higher than me, I can't not ask them to do things. So the Iraqi Minister of Defense says, okay, we'll pick up the body at this point. So they make an arrangement where people will go with a convoy to the certain gate of the Iraqi Ministry of Interior. And somehow we were going to go there and pick up a body. That's where the U.S. intelligence immediately jumped on it. And I was told to go and be right there and find out who is it inside of the Iraqi Minister of Interior. Who is it behind these assassination lists? Who are the assassination teams? So I immediately exchanged a deal with the brother that if he lets me in to go be part of that convoy, and he has to choose me to go among the 4 people who are allowed to go inside of that compound. And if he does that, we were going to save his brother if his brother is alive. We were going to take his brother to a U.S. combat hospital, and there might be a small percentage where his brother can live. So the brother takes the deal. I go there. I get in the car. We get to the gate, and they said, we're only allowing 4 people in. Obviously, I am the youngest, most youngest looking person. I am the most innocent looking guy in the crew. The 3 Iraqi officers who escorted me, they were actually a lot older.
Yeah, I've seen your pictures from back then. You're kind of like a skinny little guy.
This is a teeny little guy. No one would even look at. So I do look like actually I'm about to carry a body. That's what I look like I was about to do. And I get into the car and I go inside. And once I went inside of the Iraqi Ministry of Interior, as soon as they opened the gate, it was actually a small compound isolated from the rest of the Ministry of Interior. a place that you didn't know it exists. It sits right behind 10-foot concrete barriers.
Like a black site.
It is like a black site.
Huh.
And they opened the door, and the people were dressed in Iraqi commando uniform. They were wearing a green camouflage. And I still remember as the car went down, there was buildings on the left-hand side of the road. And in top of the building, there were people with PKCs pointed right at the car.
Wow.
And you're looking up and you see people with but in the barrel right on the car. You almost felt that they were going to open fire on the car. So we get out, we go to a front headquarters, which we saw a building. We get out, and at the time, I'm wearing glasses that had a camera in it. And I get out of the car, and I will never forget, the first person shows up was an Iranian agent known by General Faris, who was actually known as General Faris as an Iraqi general, but he's not. He's also an Iranian agent.
Wow.
Speaks fluent Arabic because he's from the Iranian-Iraqi borders. Comes out. So at that point, I'm confused. I'm looking at people who are in Iraqi uniform, but some of them are speaking Persian to one another. And he comes out first.
And Persian is primarily spoken where?
In Iran.
Okay.
These are totally not Iraqis, man.
Wow.
They might be, some of them are Iraqis, but they kind of have Iraqi Iranians.
So this would be like seeing an American soldiers in uniform and they're speaking Spanish.
In Spanish.
What is going on?
And you're like, what's going on in here? And literally, I was confused. And as he came out, there was a person that came out from behind him. And immediately, four soldiers comes out carrying a blanket. And you can see there's someone in the blanket. And the one thing that I saw was blood dripping from the blanket as the blanket was getting closer to us. And as soon as they brought the blanket, I look to the right side and I see somebody who believed to be the Quds commander of Iran behind that Iraqi general, who also another Iranian agent. In that moment, someone hit me with the back of my head with the barrel. I felt the barrel was hitting me in the head. And the person said to me, "Look down." And I immediately took that look and I looked down and I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see." He said, "Keep looking down."
Wow.
And when they came by us, they actually threw the body in the ground, in the blanket.
Just tossed him.
Tossed him right in front of us. And they literally looked at us and said, "Put him in the car and get out of here and do not look." And I literally went down, carried him, put him in the back of the car. There was no time to look at him. There was no time to know if he's dead or alive. All I see is a blanket that is dripping blood coming down as they walk towards us. So we put him in the car. And as soon as we put him in the car, we get into the car, we start driving away. And as soon as that gate opened and we left, I immediately jumped to the back seat and I was trying to see where he was injured. Was he shot to the body? There's any ones we can treat while we can get him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And at the time he was shaking. So he was still alive.
Oh, he was still alive.
He was still alive.
Wow.
I can see he's shaking. I can see there's hand movement. I have checked for heart rates. But one thing that I didn't understand, there was blood all over his face.
Yeah.
But I can't find where the wounds were.
Mm.
I thought he was shot to the head. So I couldn't see any wounds around the face, around the neck. And I started actually seeing that the blood was actually coming from his hair. So I started putting my fingers in between his hair. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I put my fingers in between his hair, I technically had his skull in my hand. And what I felt, there were holes in his head.
Holes from like a bullet or?
It's what I thought. It wasn't a bullet. I felt there was small holes in his head, and I just kind of figured in my head, like, was this guy really shot to the head and he's just still alive? No, it wasn't. They were actually drilling into his head with a drill.
Yeah, because if you got shot in the head 6 times, you're not going to have you have no head left. Yeah, there's nothing left.
So that's the thing is you didn't know what they used to torture him. So you're actually feeling there's holes in the head.
Wow.
He's still alive. I'm confused. And I see that he's bleeding still. And he's not well. Mm-hmm. So I immediately make a phone call We get him a helicopter to land, put him on a helicopter, fly him to Ibn Sina Hospital, U.S. Combat Hospital in the Green Zone. At that point, he was separated from his brother, from everybody else in that convoy. It was just me and him. I land him down, and I will never forget the doctors who came in at the U.S. Combat Hospital to see this. And they were just like, what is this? Someone who has been drilled to the head 6 times by a drill.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point was, for us, for the U.S. intelligence, we were trying to figure out why this person was tortured and what kind of questions he was asked and why were they trying to kill him. So they immediately put him on another helicopter and they flew him to Balad, where people do neurology into his head. They can look into the head. So I didn't see the guy until about 3 months later. And I'm standing there in the MOD, and all of a sudden, like, I see the guy comes in, and immediately the American agent calls me and says, we're going to interview this guy. So I go there to sit with him and talk to him. And I said, hey, man, why were you taken? What questions do you remember after everything you went through, after they drilled into your head? Do you really remember what you have done? And he said, they asked me about a person who was in my squadron back in the 80s. And he happened to live in Southeast in Baghdad. And he goes, I switched squadron. I've never seen this guy again. He said, they drilled into my head asking me where that guy is.
So just somebody that he went to school with.
So basically the information was provided is that someone in his squadron has bombed somebody in Iran.
Wow.
And that he was not the guy who was wanted, but they found out who was in his squadron, and there was a way for him to tell them where that guy is now. You're talking about this pilot. It's probably a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably living somewhere in Iraq, right?
Yeah.
Probably not living where his family is living. Could be living somewhere else. But they were basically torturing people in that squadron to
just
know
to get
where,
to that pilot.
to that one guy.
Wow.
And it just goes to show you what Iran was pushing way too far
Yeah.
in that war, that they were looking to do anything they can to get the information to assassinate. So they assassinated over 168 Iraqi pilots.
Did you ever wind up prosecuting the what'd you say, Lieutenant Colonel, who was the traitor?
Oh, the Iraqi general?
Yeah, yeah.
No, man.
So
Nobody was able to prosecute him. He was protected. Later on, when the U.S. troops pulled out of Iraq, Prime Minister of al-Maliki appointed this guy to be one of the top people.
So you think he's still alive today?
He's alive and still. He's paralyzed. He can only move his eyes.
How would he be paralyzed?
He's paralyzed. He got sick.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, I guess there is some karma then.
it is. He got sick and he can only move his eyes.
Wow.
And that's what I heard last about him. I mean, literally, this guy has, just to go through the stories, man, this guy has eliminated every single person that would become in any kind of competition within the Iraqi government or with the Iraqi Ministry of Defense. He will eliminate it like it's nothing happened.
Incredible.
2 people who try to take his positions or were appointed by the Iraqi or the U.S. government to take his positions were immediately assassinated. 2 people, not
Wow.
1.
Wow.
So he always left you with no options. And the fact that he wasn't alone, he had a group outside of the Iraqi Ministry of Defense he met with, and a lot of these operatives worked in the MOD as well.
Yeah.
So he wasn't only doing it in his own position, other people in other positions, important positions, were also getting assassinated. So his guy could be the next guy.
So what I'm taking from all of this
Yeah.
that you just said, Muhammad, who we're speaking to today, is extremely fortunate to be alive.
He could have been one of the 168 pilots that were assassinated
Absolutely.
by Iran.
Yeah. Muhammad, I read
Yeah.
something about one of your cousins maybe tried to assassinate Saddam Hussein at some point. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, actually, his first, my mom first cousin, actually.
So your mother's cousin.
Yeah, first cousin. So he used to like general in army aviation. He's in operation. And after Saddam killed Adakhir Allah, which is Minister of
His
Defense
brother-in-law.
at that time. Yeah, brother-in-law.
Mm.
And also his Saddam's wife like Adnan Khairallah's sisters. Like Saddam, he married sister of this guy. So anyway, so he's the best friend to Adnan Khairallah, my mother's first cousin. He's best friend for Adnan Khairallah. So he started talking all the time, like, Saddam killed this person, Saddam killed this person. Then suddenly he found out they came to him to take him. So he ran north of Iraq from Turkey, Syria. Then he ended in Germany. So after that, so he sent his brother to him, to Saddam, to tell him, like, come back to Iraq. Otherwise, I'll kill your kids. He has three kids, like.
Wow.
Yeah, so he didn't obey that order. Like, he didn't, like, answer him nothing. So he killed 3 sons, like. Yeah.
So Saddam's people killed your cousin's 3 children?
Yes.
Because he wouldn't come back and face consequences?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just, this guy doesn't mess around, huh?
It just goes to show you the brutality of Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
When it reaches its level, you're done.
So nobody's off limits. Children, women, nobody.
I mean, if you are involved in any situation, so why your children or your son are gonna pay for it? So why? Is that fair?
Yeah.
You wanted. Why he take his your son or your children? Why they? That's how it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow, definitely a different way of life than we're used to here in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah.
So what are you doing nowadays, Mohammed?
Well, actually, since I moved here, actually in the United States, I start work at the like construction hotels. Then after that, I try to get my license, like flying. So I apply and they give me my license. I start work with my license as a pilot, but there's misspelling in my last name. So they take it away from me until like I correct my name. That's take forever, like, then. Yeah. So after that, like, it's since like get everything perfect, then start COVID. Then after COVID, that's economy. Then I get car accident. Now I'm sitting on more than a year, like, because that's car accident. So that's.
Oh man.
And yeah, and also as like I work as like with the U.S. Army as an advisor, like to train a U.S. Army
as a role player, culture advisor,
yes,
basically.
Yeah, advisor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
you did some similar work, right?
Yeah, I did similar work actually with him too.
Yeah, so as an advisor to the Army to talk about Iraqi culture,
or
lifestyle,
preparing U.S. advisors who are going overseas to Iraq over the years. And Mohammed, I got to ask you this. One last thing that I want to ask you is, like, how did it feel when you made it to the United States? How did it feel for you?
Yeah, like, it's my dream, like, after the situation over there. And already my family here. So I came here, like, this is like a future here. Even my kids, as I told you in the morning, like, my kids, they made it here. They came here. One of them was like in 12th grade and the other one on 10th grade. And my son, like, he was in 4th grade. And other daughter is like still like in kindergarten. So when came here, they didn't know how to speak English. We don't have Googles at that time. In 2004, they have each one of them, they has like dictionary. So what that's words meaning in Arabic. So they, it's like, it should be like translated at least to understand what's going on. And they crying and they made it, like, so I have 2 doctors. And one of them, she get PhD in infection disease, and my son, he's electric engineering, and graduate. He worked for BAE, British Aerospace Engineering, and the youngest one, she's 2 years, like she's like 2nd year as a law school. Thanks God.
Nice, very good.
Yeah.
So it must have felt incredible to finally come to the U.S. and finally be safe after living years
Yeah.
Just afraid for your life, right?
Yes. So
Incredible.
actually, this is my country, like new country. Give me everything.
You identify as an
Give
American.
me
now.
freedom.
Yeah.
Give me respect. Give me everything. Give me like smiling, happiness, everything. Give me this country.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the American dream, is after everything you go through in your home country, being chased by Iranian assassins, being chased by Al-Qaeda, finally you make it to the United States to be here safe. From flying Saddam Hussein's to running away from Al-Qaeda and surviving the Iranian assassinations. Definitely, that's a huge. And again, Mohammed, we can't thank you enough for coming today, for making the time to be here with us.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, until we see you guys again in the Black Side Show,